Why poor people think differently about money. Why would someone spend their last $100 on a new pair of shoes instead of saving it? Most people see that and immediately think, that's exactly why they're poor. But what if that's the wrong answer? What if poverty doesn't just affect how much money you have, but actually changes the way you think about money itself? Researchers have discovered that financial stress can influence decision-making, risk-taking, and even a person's ability to plan for the future. The truth is, when you're constantly worried about money, your brain starts operating differently. And once you understand why, you'll never look at poverty the same way again. Poverty isn't just a money problem. Most people think poverty is simply about not having enough money, but it's much more complicated than that. Imagine you're drowning in the ocean. At that moment, you're not thinking about next year's vacation, your retirement plan, or your dream house. You're focused on one thing, your next breath. Financial struggle works in a very similar way. When someone is constantly worried about rent, bills, groceries, or unexpected expenses, their brain naturally focuses on immediate survival. Every dollar matters. Every financial mistake feels dangerous. Every emergency feels like a crisis. People who have never experienced this kind of pressure often assume poor people make bad financial decisions. But what they don't realize is that stress itself changes how people think and act. When survival becomes the top priority, long-term planning often moves to the background. The future looks different when you're struggling. Imagine someone offers you two choices, $100 today or $150 6 months from now. For a financially stable person, waiting 6 months might seem like an easy decision. But for someone struggling to pay bills or buy groceries, having money right now could be far more valuable. That's because today's problems feel real, while future rewards can feel uncertain. This is one reason many people living in poverty focus on short-term solutions. It's not necessarily because they don't understand the importance of planning ahead. It's because their current situation forces them to prioritize immediate needs. When your life is filled with financial uncertainty, the future can feel unpredictable, and people naturally choose certainty over possibility. What looks irresponsible from the outside can often feel completely logical from the inside. The hidden cost of being poor. Here's something many people never think about. Being poor is often more expensive than being rich. Imagine your car suddenly breaks down. A wealthy person can pay for the repair and continue with their life. Someone living paycheck to paycheck may need to take out a loan, use a high-interest credit card, or miss work because they can't afford the repair immediately. Suddenly, one small problem creates several new problems. The same thing happens with healthcare, education, housing, and even groceries. People with money can often save by buying in bulk, paying up front, or investing in quality products that last longer. People without money are often forced to choose the cheaper option in the moment, even if it costs more over time. This creates a cycle where having less money actually makes life more expensive. Why risk feels different. One of the biggest advantages wealthy people have isn't just money, it's security. A wealthy person can invest in a business that fails, lose money in the stock market, or make a bad financial decision and still recover. But for someone living paycheck to paycheck, one mistake can have serious consequences. Losing a few $1,000s might be disappointing for one person and life-changing for another. That's why risk feels completely different depending on your financial situation. People with financial security can focus on growth and opportunity. People without that security often have to focus on protection and survival. And those different realities naturally lead to different ways of thinking about money. Conclusion. The biggest difference between rich and poor people may not be intelligence, talent, or even hard work. Sometimes it's simply the ability to think beyond today's problems. When you're financially secure, you have the freedom to plan years into the future. But when you're struggling to survive, today's challenges demand all of your attention. That's why poor people often think differently about money. Not because they're less capable or less responsible, but because they're dealing with a completely different set of circumstances. They're not playing the same financial game as everyone else. And once you understand that, you begin to see poverty, wealth, and financial success in a completely different way. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content about money, psychology, and success. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.